tukae na udugu, amani na uhuru, raha tupate na ustawi.
The East African Anthem.
E Mungu twaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Shall we remain standing for a word of prayer from Engineer Ephantus Kamweru? Kindly come forward and pray for us.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, this afternoon we humble ourselves before you because you are King of Kings, you are Lord of Lords. All authority belongs to you, all the honor belongs to you. That's why, my Father, we ask for forgiveness of our sins, for anything that we have done that does not please you. We ask for your cleansing with the blood of Jesus. We take this opportunity to thank you, God, my Father, for making us make it a time like this. That as REREC, God, my Father, one of the government agency, God, has reached 13 years, and you have enabled it to serve Kenyans for those years, God. We thank you, God, for that, Jehovah. We thank you for the government of Kenya, for the Minister of Energy, and all our stakeholders, Jehovah, who has enabled us to work together to be able to serve Kenya to the best way possible. That's going to please you, Lord. It's our prayer, God, my Father, as we launch this strategy, as we launch these policies, Jehovah, they are not just going to be papers, but they are going to serve their purpose, the one which was intended for us, God. Because one day during the judgment.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You may be seated. We would like now to invite from the hotel Grace, who will give us a small brief on housekeeping. Grace, karibu sana.
Good evening, guests. Welcome, Friday in Paradise. We are very grateful to receive you, our customers. Thank you and welcome again. The most important thing we have to brief about is about the security and about the COVID-19. And from the entrance of the gate, you have to follow the COVID protocols. Inside the conference, you should follow the COVID protocol to stay with your mask. When you are going out, walking around, stay with your mask. Sanitize your hand. I think at the wall there is a sanitizing area. Entering and please sanitize your hand and stay errors. And inside of the security, we have CCTV control, 24-hour surveillance, 2 policemen on the control. So in any other side of the security, we are much secured. In the hotel, we have a clinic officer, doctor. In case you are feeling unwell, you just see our doctor. We just do a first aid to you. In any case of emergency, we have a call doctor for emergency. And again, when you go outside, the other side there is a washroom, then the tea area is near the washroom where you are, and feel at home and welcome Friday. Thank you.
Thank you. Please let's give Grace a better round of applause. It is said that men normally are secure, but under the guidance of a lady, we are totally secure. So tumpigie makofi tena tafadhali. Our chief guest, Major General retired Dr. Gordon Hilahangwa, the chairman of the board of directors of REREC, Professor Simon Bisharu, the CEO, CPA Peter Mbogwa, senior managers and other sector CEOs, ladies and gentlemen, members of the Fourth Estate, we want to start our formal program. Before then, I would like to humbly introduce myself. My name is Juma Odemba. Juma Odemba, I have several hats, but today I come with one as the MC for today. But in another life, I'm the director of Kayamba Africa for the past 25 years. That's where you clap. Yeah, I just want to remind the audience that there are some important things that will be said here. Pay attention. When it is said, you clap immediately. Can we try again? Yes. I am the director of IP, intellectual property rights. I'm also a chairman of a quasi-musician union, which we are trying to make sure we take care of musicians. And finally, I'm the MC for today's REREC launch. Our chief guest, there's a cameraman blocking you there. Yes, I want him to know me. Our chief guest, I'm very honored to be with you today. I want to say that earlier on, because the manner in which that guest was wearing is the way you dress. I like the way you dress. Very good African attire. So we had started the function. Then I was told, no, mkubwa hajakuja. This is because of this mask issue. So forgive us. We may call the wrong person the right name and so on, but please forgive us. We are already learning from that. Also, I want to say, and this one I'm saying with a lot of respect to you, sir, when you were able to process our passports within 2 hours. 2 hours. And at that time, I must be honest, we were going to represent the country at an international festival in Oman. And you know how strict the Arab countries are. But through his good office, we were given passports. 5 of us were given passports in less than 2 hours. That is the time there was a machine that ate some of them. But then, today we are in a very exciting function. We are happy. We are in Mombasa. We are enjoying the sun. But we also want to launch something very, very strategic, very important. And to introduce us to today's events and today's program, I want to humbly request that we welcome the General Manager, Information, Education and Communication, Dr. Rose Mkalama, to give us a brief of why we are here. But then, of course, later we will get to hear the brief proper from those who have prepared it. Karibu sana, madam. It is a lady coming. Clap louder. Hey.
Thank you very much, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. God is good, and all the time. Wow, wow. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming for this occasion. As you have heard, I'm in charge of information, education, and communication. Our dear peers from the Ministry of Energy, our chairman of the board of directors, our directors, the representatives of the various CEOs from the energy sector agencies, my fellow colleagues, the managers and the staff of REREC, I stand here this afternoon to welcome you to County 001. Karibuni, karibuni. I start by appreciating everyone who has found time to come for this occasion, and especially our peers and the members of the board, our chairman and the members of the board, in spite of their busy schedules, we have found time to come. Thank you very much, sir, for finding time to come and sit with the staff of REREC. Today, I also want to thank my staff, our staff and our colleagues for the journey that we have walked together in coming up with this strategic plan. You will agree with me that this has taken a long time, isn't it? Is that true? It has taken a long time. It has taken a lot of energy, a lot of dedication. To the team that did the strategic plan, we could not have been here without you, and I want to recognize you. And as we also interacted a lot with internal and external stakeholders, and especially within the sector, we had the sector organizations from the energy sector. We also interacted a lot with our Ministry of Energy as our mother ministry. We interacted a lot with the National Treasury, with the donor community, with the communities, and especially with the county governments in coming up with this wonderful strategic plan that is going to run for the next 5 years. And thank you very much for the comments that we received throughout the period, and we shall be celebrating with you as we celebrate this new dawn for REREC. As we go forward, just my thoughts on how I see the strategic plan. The strategic plan is a new dawn for REREC. You know, it comes when now we have the Energy Act 2019, and more so when we are having sector reforms that are currently ongoing. So we could not have had a better time to launch our strategic plan right from the mandate that is given to us by the Act, and more so with the sector reforms. So thank you very much for finding time to come, and I hope as we go by, we shall get to know what is this strategic plan. And before I forget, we are also launching our policies, our internal policies. You know, it would be useless to have a good strategic plan, and there is nothing that defines on how you implement those plans. So the policies will be defining how we implement those plans, and again, it's a big day for us to launch those plans, and thank you very much for the team that came up with the plans. So without much ado, I will allow that the next presenter comes, but thank you very much for coming, and let us enjoy the day. Thank you.
Can we have a louder round of applause for that? And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are now moving on to the presentation. But before then, just a little housekeeping. Can I ask a pop question? Who is the most famous and successful recording artist in Kenya? Anybody? Just say. Embarambara? I am not against Embarambara, but you can tell the reasoning of some people. But any other artist? Sema yako? That table? Which is the most famous recording artist in Kenya now? Sauti Sol. Mwingine? Ben Sol. Na mwingine? Akothe. I want to assure you, you are all wrong. The most famous recording artist, according to latest research, is Mike Sonko. So, in that regard, I want to ask you to please put your phones on silent so that whoever is presenting does not get any interference from any of your gadgets as a result of your trying to join that career. I think tumeelewana. Tuweke simu kwa silent, alafu tupate hizo presentation. Therefore, allow me now to welcome the Manager, Strategy and Planning, CPA, Francis Mutua, to make his presentation. Makofi kwake.
Good evening. Yes, we are trying to set up all protocols observed. Thank you. My name is CPA Francis Mutua. I'm going to take about 10 minutes to brief you on the strategic plan. You'll get the advantage of seeing the document. It's a big document. You have the booklet, so I'll be very brief so that we save time and also give you justice. Thank you. Yes, thank you. I'm going to take you through the strategic plan of the corporation running from 2018-19 to 2022-23 in about 10 minutes. That is the outline. That's how the strategic plan will flow. As a start, we want to give you the background why we do this strategic plan. As you have heard, it has taken us a lot of resources. And basically, the strategic plan is the document that will help us in running our mandate over the next 5 years. It is the product of extensive consultation and feedback, as we have been told, from external and internal stakeholders. It is the document that will guide us to facilitate our programs and projects, which is a key driver of our socio-economic development in Kenya. Key is to note that this strategic plan, both the rural electrification and renewable energy programs and projects, will be a refresh to the Vision 2030, Sustainable Development Goals, what we call the SDGs, the MTP3, and the Big Four agenda. It will also guide management and board in prudent management of the corporation's resources. And most importantly, it will guide the board, who are the guidance of policy in making optimal decisions. Overview of the previous strategic plan. As has been said, it has been a journey. This corporation is about 13 years old, and it's good to see how we have been moving forward. The first strategic plan was done in financial year 2008-9 to 2013-14. And we focused on key areas. Basically, we were implementing the medium-term plan of the government. And basically, we were doing 4 key areas: electrification of public facilities. We are looking at trading centers, health centers, and secondary schools. Over that period, we did slightly over 13,000 public facilities. We did 15 off-grid diesel stations. And we also did 64 solar PV systems using various technologies. Then we did another brief one for the financial year 2013-14 to 2015-16. And basically there we were focusing on 4 key areas. This is the time when we had the digital literacy program, whereby the president directed that all primary schools should be electrified, to ensure that we get the tablets to the pupils in the primary schools. And authoritatively, we have done 22,927 primary schools. We also went off-grid to support the underserved areas, doing hybrid stations in 4 areas, as you can see in the presentation. And more importantly, we lit up informal settlements. You all know about Kibera and the other areas, just to make sure that those settlements are safe. Then we did a strategic plan for FY 16-17 to 2020-21. It's good to note that this strategic plan culminated to this current strategic plan we are launching. Basically, this strategic plan had 5 key leverages or pillars: to develop and promote renewable energy resources, enhance electricity connectivity, strategic partnership with stakeholders, institutional capability strengthening, and financial sustainability. some of the key milestones in this period, we were able to electrify public facilities, about 3,000, over 3,000. We installed transformers in constituencies. I think all of us come from constituencies, about 3,006 projects. We did the flagship 50 megawatt Garissa solar plant and 26 mini-grid solutions under the integration networks. We also finalized 20 diesel stations in off-grid areas, and over this period we have also been able to maintain solar PV systems in schools. To note is that we have been collaborating with counties and constituencies. We have about 26 counties and 47 constituencies we have collaborated under the Matching Fund program. Also, this is a period when we have been very heavy on projects funded by development partners. We have projects under Badea, COSAP, Kemp, OFIC, and the 50 megawatt solar plant. We also did the Takwel-Lokicha line. The mandate, I'll be very brief. We all know that our mandate increased from 6 to 20 after the signing of the Energy Act in 2019 March. So basically, I don't need to go through this because you'll have the document, you can be able to read about the mandate. This is the most important part because it gives us what our strategic focus is, and this is what should actually keep us awake. This is where we have the mission, vision, and the core values. And basically, the mission of the corporation is to provide sustainable energy solutions to all through rural electrification and renewable energy for socio-economic transformation. That is why we are all here. And our vision statement, as you have seen from various banners, is a green energy-driven nation. Value statement or motto, green energy, better lives. Those are our core values. I don't need to read all of them. This is what defines our philosophy or culture as we sojourn in REREC. The strategic plan has 6 strategic objectives. You can all see them there, and these are the pillars. Just like as you are building a house, these are the pillars of the REREC strategic plan, 6 of them. And it's good to see how they are arranged. They are arranged in order of significance to the corporation, but they are all important. Let me read for you the 6 strategic objectives so that you internalize them. Number 1 key for us is to develop and promote the use of renewable energy. 2, to increase electricity connectivity. 3, to promote research and development in renewable energy. 4, to establish strategic collaboration with stakeholders. 5, to build human and strengthen institutional capacity. And 6, to achieve financial sustainability. The first 3 are the core business. And the last 4, 5, and 6 are the support pillars of the strategic plan, but they are all as important. To operationalize this strategic plan, we have to have resources. And basically, as I said, these resources have been moving from 2016-17, because today this is just an update culminating from the Energy Act. Our strategic plan is a 159 billion investment, meaning that we need to invest about 30 billion by each of the financial years. To develop and promote use of renewable energy, we need about 60 billion. Electricity connectivity, 91 billion. Research and development, very key for us, 1.4. Human and strengthening institutional capacity, 4.6. And financial sustainability, 98 million, giving 158 towards 159 billion. And this is the sources of funding. Both of them work together because you have to source funding to be able to do the strategic plan. Key for us is the national government, about 81 billion over the 5 years. County governments, we collaborate with county governments, 2.5 billion. Development partners, 14 billion, just what I've talked about. Public-private partnerships, 24 billion. The NCCDF, the constituencies and the community, about 6 billion, investments, 1 billion, sales of bulk power, 26.9, and other sources, including our interest from various banks and other sources, about 3.1. That is the 158 billion. That's how we will fund our strategic plan moving forward. Just about 1 minute to talk about evaluation. You know, they usually say that what is measured gets done. So that's how we'll be monitoring the strategic plan with key performance indicators. You can see most of them are there. How we'll be measuring to make sure that the strategic plan is operationalized. Strategy implementation, basically that is key. We'll cascade to the staff, all the staff in the organization. We'll have individual work plans in the departments. We'll have a resource plan, meetings to discuss the strategic plan, performance monitoring, and compliance with budget, because budget is a subset of the strategic plan. In terms of reporting, very importantly, we'll be giving reports to the management monthly, quarterly to management and the board, half-year to management and board, and annual reports to the board on implementation. These are our timelines of review. End of each year, we'll be doing an annual review. Midterm, we'll do midterm review for about 2.5 years. And end of the strategic plan, we'll do a review and come up with a new strategic plan to guide the organization. That is the implementation matrix of the strategic plan. Basically, this is what's the most important thing, whereby we have the strategies, we have responsibility, the people who will be doing the various activities, resources, the period, and the KPIs. Basically, this is how you monitor the strategic plan. In terms of way forward, it's good for us to appreciate that the successful implementation of this strategic plan will be key to attaining the REREC mandate, which we all know. The strategic plan is supposed to be a live document, meaning that we need to regularly review. Just as it has been said that now we are doing the task force reforms, we might need to incorporate some of them in the strategic plan. We'll need to continuously measure performance so that we keep the strategic plan on track. There's need for interdependence in the strategic plan between the board, staff, and other stakeholders. There's need to enhance communication, to cascade the strategic plan to various stakeholders. And I think as a corporation, we need to strive to be the best in class in renewable energy and in rural electrification, to be the point of call in terms of rural electrification. All stakeholders in this room, irrespective of rank and role, should know the vision and mission of the corporation. Basically, all of us, we are here to implement rural electrification and renewable energy projects, irrespective of what we do. So we need to embrace the strategic plan and make sure that we embrace it and make sure that we operationalize it. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we please prepare and set up for the next presentation? As we are doing that, I must emphasize, and we must appreciate, that this took quite a lot of work. This is quite a lot of work, and I want to emphasize that we must give Francis Mutua a bigger round of applause for a job well done. Well done, sir. I liked the quote that it says, what gets measured gets done. I am interested particularly in different languages, and I think artificial intelligence is going to help us to do this. There is a study where artificial intelligence wants to translate every language in Kenya, every language, so that even if I speak to you in the Luo, you'll be able to understand it. through an artificial intelligent interpreter. It's working, but we have issues with African language. While in English it is easy to say what gets measured gets done. I want you to tell me in your mother tongue, when somebody has done such a good thing as Mutua, you say, it's a very good thing. How do you say it in your mother tongue? Just think about it. In my mother tongue, Gimaber to Bernard. In Luya, kitu mzuri ni mzuri namna gani? Kikamba. But if you take the way we say it in our mother tongues to direct English, it will be said like this. A good thing is good how? So we can be trying to do things, but in ngumu, huwezi could directly translate. It's hard. It's very hard. That machine I hear is trying to interpret to an African. When you do, what does that mean? How will the machine interpret? No. Means I'm about to get annoyed. And so on and so forth. But ladies and gentlemen, one more time. Bwana Mutua, asante sana. Makofi kwake. Now, our chief guest, the next speaker, has coincidentally got the same names with the previous speaker. And they are both CPAs. They are not twins. They don't come from the same community. They are not even lookalikes. But they do the same professional input in their work. Allow me to introduce to you CPA Francis Joroge, who is the Acting Principal Quality and Risk Management Officer, to make his presentation. Remember, his presentation is on the overview of internal policies. Karibu sana. Makofi kwake.
Thank you, MC. The chief guest and all protocols observed. I think in the interest of the interpretation of the language that the MC have just said, now I'm here to present a tool for implementation of the strategic plan, and that is the internal policies. I'll take a very short time. First, it is important, maybe before even I go to the first slide, somebody asked, what is this policy that you are talking about? Mumekuwa mkiongea about policy. What is a policy? So the person who responded said, a policy is a policy. Na akamalizia hapo. So in the interest of that, I think it's important to define what we are talking about. And we are saying that internal policies in REREC refers to a set of approved documented guidelines that establish the expected standards of code of behavior and delivery of services and undertaking of official transactions by staff and stakeholders within the corporation. That this is a set of approved documents by the board. The board wants us, as we are undertaking the transactions, we do it in a certain way, we behave in a certain manner within the corporation, and here we are talking about within and without the physical buildings. So here we are talking about it's approved, expected standards, expected code within the corporation. The objectives. Why did we have to develop corporation policies? The first one, to infuse strategic direction. We are saying that we want to use the corporation internal policies to implement the strategic plan. As simple as that. Integrate risk management in the corporation operations, define key activities which are important to us, to embed quality management system in the corporation operations. We also want to provide linkages and interdependencies in the operation so that we don't operate like pillars, like standalone pillars. We operate in a linked manner. We also want to integrate ethical culture within the corporation operations. What are the benefits of having internal policies in the corporation? We have operated without policies for long. So what do we stand to gain? The first one, it enhances knowledge of processes. So going forward, staff will not be like behaving like wanakulia procedures kwa mfuko kama jugukaranga. It will be clear, you refer to a policy, you know what is supposed to be done, when, what is supposed to be produced, what documentation are supposed to be maintained. We are also saying that it enhances institutionalization of functions and offices. Like for example, when we are saying the office of the CEO, regardless of the CEO, the expectation will be in a certain manner, enhances customer expectations. It is also true for one, training and also induction of new staff, basis of performance evaluation, also process improvement, and we can also say that it enhances process consistency. So where we are saying, when the same activity is done by different persons, they will produce the same results because they are using the same tools. Basis of records management, responsibility and accountability, because the policies, as we know, they are saying who will do what, when, how, and what will be produced, and how is it linked to the next process. It will also be a basis of knowledge management and also provide clear functional linkages. And then also lastly, we are saying that it is a new dawn for the corporation. Policies are going to provide order. What has been the roadmap been? First, we are saying that the corporation is ISO certified, ISO 9000 2015 certified. Since 2012, the corporation operated with operation procedures which were documented. But we are saying that only HR and finance had an approved policy. With the enhanced mandates under 2019 Energy Act, the corporation saw it prudent to have the policies generated and documented to provide internal governance. As part of transition process that we were transiting in 2019 from REREC to REREC, policies were made part of that transition. The heads of departments developed the initial drafts. 53 documents were done by October 2019, but then also COVID came, and therefore the process was crippled a little, but as part of the process, internal policies training was also undertaken, part of 2019 activity. And basically, training was important so that we ensure convergence and also uniformity of approach in the development of the policies. Because at the end of the day, we are saying that the many policies that we have, when an outsider sees an internal policy from REREC, it should be identifiable and traceable to the corporation. Then also, there was management review, just to ensure that whatever is presented to the board meets the basic criteria or the basic standard. There was also a joint management and ad hoc select committee of the board that was also conducted. That is July to September 2021. After the review process, the number of policies reduced from 53 to 45. And we are saying 45 internal policies were approved during the 42nd board committee that was held on 29th of October 2021. So we are having 45 newly approved policies. Also earlier in 2019, the HR manual was approved and therefore it required not to be approved again. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we are presenting 46 policies for the launch. What is in an internal policy of the corporation? The title page carries The title page or the cover page carries the title and reference. Second page carries the forward. The forward has introduction, function of the policy, purpose of the policy, and also signing page. The third page carries table of contents. Chapter 1 has abbreviation and definition. Chapter 2, introduction. Chapter 3, corporation vision. Chapter 4, corporation mission. Chapter 5, policy objectives. Chapter 6 has scope of the policy. Chapter 7 is where everybody who is mentioned in the policy, there is a summary of what roles they are supposed to play. Chapter 8 carries the implementation and support, and this is where we are saying what will be done, who will do what, timelines where necessary, reports, records on processes, the templates, all that is carried there. Chapter 9 is a summary of records under the policy. Chapter 10 is summary of the reports under the policy. Chapter 11, we have monitoring and evaluation. Chapter 12, approval of the policy. Chapter 13, we have other related policies and procedures, the laws, the linkages with other policies and all that. Chapter 14, we have bibliography. And lastly, chapter 15, we have appendices. The summary of all the policies that we have, I'll just mention the department and the host, as the host department and the policy. So the first one, we have administration, the host administration policy. Second, advocacy, public education and awareness. They host a policy with the same name. Human resources hosts 9 plus 1. 9 plus 1, so we have alcohol, disability, gender, mainstreaming, gender-based violence, HIV and AIDS policy, capacity building policy, and records management policy. And we are saying they also hold the HR manual, which was pre-approved. Internal audit holds 2, internal, that is anti-corruption and whistleblowing policy, and internal audit policy. Board management secretariat, they host board management policy. Business development hosts 5, that is business development policy, environmental and climate change policy, change management policy, stakeholder management policy, or stakeholder engagement policy, and resource mobilization policy. Legal services hosts 3, legal services policy, land policy, and conflict of interest policy. Construction department hosts construction policy. Corporate communication hosts corporate communication policy. Corporate research, monitoring and evaluation hosts 2, corporate research policy and monitoring and evaluation policy. ICT holds data management policy and ICT policy. Design holds design policy. Energy centers holds energy center support policy. Finance and accounts department hosts finance investment policy and finance policy. There is a department called geospatial, and they host geospatial policy. Supply chain management policy, management, they host inventory policy and procurement policy. We also have operation and maintenance department. This is also a new department. They host operation and maintenance policy. Regional coordination department holds regional coordination policy. Renewable energy directorate, this is a directorate of department. They have renewable energy policy. In the reviews, this is supposed to be reviewed and separated as shall be necessary. Renewable energy research and innovation, they host renewable energy research and innovation policy. Quality and risk management department, they host risk management policy and quality management section policy. Resource center, a section in the strategy directorate, they host knowledge management policy. Security hosts security policy. Strategy and planning, they host strategy and planning policy. The Chief Executive Officer's office, it hosts 2, disaster management strategic policy framework, and second, intellectual property management policy. The REREC board, finally, they host 1, rural electrification program fund policy. The policy reviews, there shall be reviews every 5 years, or whenever a material change occurs on the function covered by the policy. Like for example, at the moment we are talking about the KPLC power purchase, and it may come with a number of changes. Finally, we celebrate CPA Peter Mogwa, the CEO, for overwhelming support and leadership during the entire process. We also recognize Dr. David Itonga. Dr. David was a process leader and a GM for strategy and business development. He was assisted by Engineer Esther Ruto, who was alternate chair, outgoing GM, power distribution and regional coordination. I hosted, I led the secretariat in the process, CPA Francis Jurogi. We also celebrate all HODs and staff who did a very, very good work for putting very good policies. From the board, we also celebrate Professor Simon Micharo, our board chair, for overwhelming support and encouragement during the journey. Makofi. Engineer Benson Karaoke, director. He was the team leader of the HADO board committee on policies. We also had Ezekiel Eruea, director and member of the HADO policy committee. Bernard Betts, director and board member. And lastly, we had George Ogalo O'Neill, director and member. Thank you, and God bless REREC. Asanteni sana. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much. Allow me to just cross the floor. By the way, whatever was read there as appreciation is just for the policy. We are going to give you a better vote of thanks for everything. So don't assume or think that we have moved away from you. We are just moving closer to you. We want to just ask that we now move from that very, very, very interesting presentation. Can I be honest with you? Every day is a learning experience. Today I've had a word I have never heard before, or perhaps I've never needed. So can somebody just tell me, hiyo maana yake ni nini? Inahusishwa na M-Pesa kulipa? CBA, hiyo geospatial ni ya nini? Inahusu nini? Maji? Oh, ina map. Mambo ya map. Na spatial ni ile watu wanaenda ile kunyorosha mwili inaitwa spa. Ndio hiyo. Sasa ukienda geospatial unaenda kuangaliwa mwili wote kama dunia. Please don't take my definition seriously. We are happy to say that we are now moving to the main part of our program. I want us to just have a small interlude after that very thorough intellectual discourse. Before we do that, can we clap our CPA? Makofi kwake. From the way he's presented it, I am aware the book is quite big. It's actually an encyclopedia. But thank you for going through it within that shortest time. A very small interview, and then we will move to the speeches proper. This is where you clap again.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Can we give it a round of applause for Able MC? Hiyo haitoshi. Na kama hutapiga atakwambia umetumia M-Pesa. Thank you.
Every day, we wake up to fulfill a sacred obligation of connecting thousands of Kenyans in rural areas to electricity.
Jambo bwana, habari gani?
yetu, hakuna matata, 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 hakuna matata.
Sorry.
Jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana, wageni wakaribishwa Kenya yetu, hakuna matata, hakuna matata, hakuna matata, hakuna matata, hakuna matata. Hakuna matata.
Every day, we wake up to fulfill a sacred obligation of connecting thousands of Kenyans in rural areas to electricity, overcoming all hurdles that come our way, with an aim of empowering every Kenyan economically, opening up their world, and giving hope to the future generations. The story of rural electrification in Kenya has come a long way. In 1973, the government of Kenya established Rural Electrification Program for purposes of subsidizing electricity supply in the rural areas. However, by 2002, it was realized that despite the program having been in place for more than 30 years, only about 4% of the rural population in Kenya had electricity supply in their homes. The government thus established Rural Electrification Authority in 2006 to scale up access to electricity in the rural areas.
The idea behind this was the government wanted to make sure that those areas which will not have rectified, if you could do it commercially, gets to be rectified, and then this would spur the economic activities in the area and empower people economically.
It is under Rural Electrification Authority that the country started to experience exponential growth in rural electrification. By May 2019, 71% of all public facilities in the country were electrified. Implementation of Rural Electrification Authority First Strategic Plan 2008-2009 to 2012-2013 factored the government's first medium-term development strategy of realizing Vision 2030. The goal during this period was to connect the three main public facilities, namely secondary schools, trading centers, and health centers, to achieve connectivity target of 22% in the rural areas by June 2013.
Energy is the key driver of government development agenda, such as Vision 2030 and the Big Four. Energy is the enabler of Kenya's manufacturing sector, facilitating the attainment of food security, universal health coverage, and affordable housing.
The Rural Electrification Master Plan was also developed during this period. In June 2013, Rural Electrification Authority undertook to provide electricity to all public primary schools in support of the government's digital literacy program. Through this project, a total of 22,384 public primary schools throughout the country have been connected to the grid or solar PV for those far away from the national grid. Rural Electrification Authority Second Strategic Plan 2013 to 2017 enhanced the focus on development of renewable energy sources in the country, in which the authority was expected to take a leading role. Some of the key achievements of the two previous strategic plans include the construction of 26 solar mini-grid projects to power towns in the off-grid counties of Wajir, Turkana, Marsabit, Mandera and Garissa. All of these mini-grids have been commissioned and customers connected to power. Another flagship project is the 50-megawatt Garissa solar power plant, which remains the largest solar power plant in East and Central Africa. This project currently contributing 2% of energy mix in Kenya. Under the Electrification of Public Primary Schools project, a total of 22,927 primary schools have been electrified across the country, positively contributing to the universal access target and improvement of education standards. Other achievements include the Takwel-Lokichar line implemented to extend grid supply to off-grid areas in northern Kenya. The lighting up informal settlements such as Kibra, Mathare, Korogosho, Ngomongo, Mukuru kwa Njenga and Kiandutu in Thika. In the previous strategic plan, the corporation also hybridized 4 diesel power stations with solar in Takaba, Eldas, Ramu and Laisamis. In the same spirit, the corporation also completed 6 wind, biogas, solar and mini hydros pilot projects in Marsabit, Kajiado, Kiambu, Meru and Kirinyaga. Further, a total of 64 secondary schools and health facilities were installed with solar systems in Marsabit, Samburu, Isiolo, Wajir, Mandera, Garissa and Lamu counties.
In one of the secondary schools specifically, the headmaster was told us this was very transformational because now he's able to produce exams, typeset, print exam in the school. Previously, he used to travel over 30 kilometers for the same services. So one, it was very expensive. Number two, he was not able to administer the same number of exams he wanted. So now he is able to offer exams as soon as frequently as they want.
We are very thankful and grateful for the electricity and the positive effects that it has brought us.
Nataka kutoa machozi kusema nashukuru serikali kwa kutuletea stima.
20 isolated diesel generators were initiated in various towns in the northern and coastal parts of the country.
With the funding of the government over the years, we are talking over slightly over 70% access in terms of electrification.
In the recent past, we have had Malawi coming to learn from REREC on rural electrification. Even in Zambia, we had a team from Uganda, meaning that we are already ahead in terms of rural electrification.
Even with all these achievements, so much more lies ahead of us. In 2019, under Section 43 of the Energy Act, Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation REREC was born. Under the new dispensation, the corporation has an expanded mandate of spearheading Kenya's renewable energy drive in addition to implementing rural electrification projects, particularly grid extension in rural areas. We have been listening to you, working with leaders at the national and county level and taking note of your concerns and compliments to serve you better.
Ile budget ambayo ninakalia sahi, I will make sure that we enhance your money for the connectivity.
And now, we are taking a bold step and setting our eyes on an even higher goal by launching a new strategic plan which covers the years 2018-2019 to 2022-2023 with the vision of a green energy-driven nation.
The Renewable Energy Corporation was given that extra workload, which probably a lot of focus on renewable energy. You see that in Kenya, the renewable energy technologies are merely optimized. So basically that gives us a lot of focus and a lot of work to do on the renewable energy. And basically this is the lifeline of this new strategic plan.
The deliverables that we have set include electrifying 25,899 public facilities, 278 public primary schools, 1,339 secondary schools, 1,428 health facilities, and 5,705 trading centers. This new strategic plan, which is the first one for REREC under the New Energy Act 2019, will have a keen focus on renewable energy, including biogas, solar energy, and wind energy. We pride ourselves in implementing one of the largest solar plants in Africa and intend to install 50,000 homes with solar systems. The plan for REREC to take over the running of 16 energy centers in the country will further bolster the corporation's resolve to making Kenya a green energy-driven nation.
The main objective of energy centers is to upscale the uptake of renewable energy in the country.
We are extremely excited about the energy center because people will have solutions to energy problems, so that they don't have to beat about the bush or be exploited by people who are promising energy solutions which are non-existent.
In terms of the revenue generation, we are looking at a way whereby we can get to market some of the product and services within the energy centers to the locals and earn some revenues.
The realization of this plan will be through implementation of 6 key strategic objectives, including developing and promotion of the use of renewable energy, increasing electricity connectivity, promoting research and development in renewable energy, establishing strategic collaborations with stakeholders, building human capacity and strengthening institutional capacity, achieving financial sustainability.
We have a fully fledged now department just doing research on renewable energy because we want to have cutting edge technologies in renewable energy which will help us to get new innovations, new sustainable ways of harnessing renewable energy, areas of collaboration in research with other related agencies.
We'll be having the short and medium term reviews to ensure that we do deliver our strategic plan.
We are collaborating with counties through a project we call the Match Fund program. Hereby we work with the counties to ensure that we share costs of projects on a 50-50 basis, a shilling for shilling. And there are some counties which are specifically doing renewable energy only. Renewable energy projects, solar, IMAS, for example, Kiambu County, they have really supported us in this area of renewable energy. We have we even had Vihiga. Vihiga went on very well as a renewable energy. We had Meru County and Nyeri County, whereby we did solar-powered balls.
And to ensure smooth working relations, the corporation has developed 45 policy documents which will guide the REREC Fraternity as we implement our mandate.
This will create a lot of linkages and a lot of flow in terms of information flow from one department to the other. They are able now to find it easy to function or to do the activities.
We want to thank our board chairman for leading us and leading our board, and for the support we get also from the board of directors.
We endeavor to remain one happy family working in synergy to ensure that the goal of becoming a green energy-driven nation is achieved.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that mini documentary takes a director, it takes a script writer, it takes an editor, it takes a cameraman, it takes quite a huge team. Therefore, I want us to kindly, warmly give a geospatial clap for all those behind that documentary. Makofi tafadhali. While I may not be an influencer in the policy decisions of what the board will decide, but I would encourage that that documentary also goes to the mainstream media and sometimes even social media on your pages, in terms of Facebook and all that, because that by itself is a clear indication of how much work you have done. So if that decision is made in the future, remember it came from my brain. Si ndio? Hii watu waone. Isiwe tu tunaona kwa sababu tuko kwa hoteli. Si mwananchi wa kawaida anafaa aone kazi yenu. Nashukuru sana. Now, there's a new constitutional amendment that was brought to Parliament as a supplementary law recently that allows MCs to only talk until the important people are supposed to talk. Therefore, I will now move and invite the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer of REREC, CPA Peter Mbogwa, to come and talk and introduce the other bigger people, because the Constitution does not allow me to introduce beyond the CEO. Si nimejaribu? Makofi kwangu tafadhali. Na makofi kwa mkurugenzi.
Thank you so much, MC. I think this far you've taken the occasion quite well, and we can imagine you'll keep entertaining us to the end. Our chief guest, the Principal Secretary, Ministry of Energy, Major General Retired Dr. Gordon Kiharangwa, Chairman of the REREC Board of Directors, Professor Simon Gisharu, members of the REREC Board present, staff from the Ministry of Energy, our mother ministry, CEO representatives of the energy sector entities, management and staff of REREC, members of the Fourth Estate, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hamujaboni. Before I make my statement, allow me to recognize the CEOs representative from the energy entities, those who are present. Tafadhali simameni kidogo. We recognize you and we appraise. Just a round of applause. Thank you. You can have your seats. Allow me also to recognize my general managers who are present and the managers. Simameni kidogo. And at this point, you can have a seat. And at this point, allow me to say that our general manager in charge of strategy and business development could not make it, because you agree with me, while we are here, we needed somebody to run the corporation. So Dr. David Gitoga is Nairobi, holding brief for me. I'm actually delighted to be here today on this very auspicious occasion for this corporation as we launch our strategic plan together with our internal policies. You all allow me, agree with me that these are two critical documents that will help this organization in moving forward. We are gathered here today to celebrate yet another milestone in the numerous achievements made by this organization since its establishment in 2006. The launch of our strategic plan is indeed an important activity to the success of the organization's mandate. This is the first strategic plan that we have developed since enactment of the Energy Act 2019 that actually established Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation, which is the successor to REA, Rural Electrification Authority. This strategic plan offers clarity to the corporation's new mission, vision, and provides strategies in enabling us achieve our goals and objectives
over the strategic plan period. The first strategic plan, and this has been mentioned, at REA focused on electrification of public facilities, and indeed we've been taking a quick journey of this to enhance access to electricity in the rural areas, while the second strategic plan operationalized aspirations of the government by electrifying public primary schools to support the digital literacy program, while we continued with electrification of public facilities. This third strategic plan focuses on sustainable electrification of all public facilities and households in the country in a bid to achieve the government target for universal access to electricity. It is also focusing on and enhances the it enhances and focuses on research and development of renewable energies in the country, which the organization is expected to take the lead. Ladies and gentlemen, the corporation recorded tremendous achievement since its incorporation, and we've been taken through quite a number of them, but allow me to mention that we did 26 mini-grids projects within the areas of Asal, this including the counties of Wajir, Turkana, Marsabit, Mandela, and Garissa. We implemented the 50 megawatt solar power plant in Garissa, and I'm happy we've been shown the pictures of the project. We pride in having the largest solar power plant in East and Central Africa. We did construct the 120 kilometer, 60 kilovolt Takwel Okicha power line, and indeed this was the first time Turkana County got connected to the grid. And there's this joke that we actually now connected Turkana to Kenya. We have electrified public facilities. We have done lighting up of informal settlement. This has been shown to us, promotion and development of renewable energies. And indeed, we are happy to continue doing the same. These achievements were realized because of having plans in place. And today, we are launching our strategic plan for the corporation, which will help us continue to strive towards achievement not only the Vision 2030, but the government Big Four agenda. To actualize the plan, a total of about 159 billion is required over the 5-year period. This translates to an average annual requirement of about 31.6 billion in resource requirement. The corporation will mobilize these funds mainly through the national government funding, because you realize we are 100% owned by the government, and we expect the exchequer to continue funding us. And we are also looking forward to funding from our development partners, who has been very supportive. In addition, you realize that we've been having very good working relationship and collaborations with the counties and the constituencies, and we expect to continue the same and raise funds through these matching funds towards our project implementations. I want to urge each one of us to familiarize ourselves with the deliverables and make appropriate efforts towards achieving the goals through the annual targets, asset and indicative targets as proposed in the strategic plan. Ladies and gentlemen, in my conclusion, I want to take this opportunity to most sincerely thank the Board of Directors, led by our own Professor Simon Gicharu, the chairman, the entire board and the REREC Fraternity for your unending support. I must sincerely thank the Ministry of Energy for having supported us all through, and all the partners in the energy sector. We do sincerely thank our contractors, our surveyors who have been part and parcel of the journey, and indeed the entire population of the Kenyan Republic for all the roles they have played towards ensuring that we achieve our goals. I want to say, and this is something I'm always proud of, that the kind of work that we are doing, our mandates, they are mandates that are to ensure that we transform the economic status of our people in the rural villages. And I'm always excited, most sincerely, when we go to the villages, we are commissioning projects, and you get this person, a very old lady or guy or a man, who really want to hug you because they believed they were not going to see power in their lifetime. And now we've made it possible for them. We are always excited about it. Allow me at this point to welcome the board chair, Professor Simon Gesharu, to give his remarks, and also invite the Principal Secretary from the Ministry of Energy to officially launch the strategic plan and our internal policies. Thank you, and may God bless you.
Sorry, I'm just looking at this, and you know, because of my height, I don't know whether they want me to kneel down so that I can reach it. I might be forced to kneel down, and I don't think that is what you intended me to do. The Principal Secretary, Ministry of Energy, Major General Retired Dr. Gordon Kiharangwa, members of the REREC Board of Directors, CEOs, representatives of the energy sector, our Chief Executive Officer, management and staff of REREC, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. I am excited today to be part of the team launching our strategic plan that covers the period of 2018, 2019, 2022 to 2023. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, before I proceed with making my remarks, to pause at that point and introduce to you my board of directors members that I have been working with, and I will not request them to stand up. I will request them to come forward. And say their name, the committee they work for, and if you are a chair of that committee, you say it briefly, and then I proceed with making my remarks. The gentleman who is doing sanitizing, come in here. I can allow you, sorry, I can allow you briefly to remove your masks. I will start with this lady here. She's not my deputy. I'm not deputized by anybody, but she happens to be the next one, next to me, who will introduce herself very briefly so that we proceed with the session.
Good afternoon. I am Josephine Washeke Wamurito. I have served in this board for 2 terms. I am now done, and I'm happy to be associated with the corporation, and I'm also excited to be partaking through this occasion. I have served in the Finance Committee, I served in the HR Committee, and I previously served in other committees of the board, ad hoc among others, and it has been a pleasure. Thank you, and I wish you every best once we leave the organization. Please keep up the momentum, and wherever we'll be, we'll try and support the vision. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Honorable Nicholas Nixon, from where Rita has connected to Kenya, but we are still in Turkana. I'm a member of the board, and I serve in the committee of audit as the chair, and also in the committee of HR as a member. Thank you.
Good evening. Honorable Bernard Bett is my name. I serve in audit committee as a member. I'm also a member in strategy committee. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ezekiel Ware. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you all for supporting us in this work towards the strategic plan and policies. We have worked very well as a corporation, and I hope that it is not just going to be a document, but it's going to be a document we can implement and move forward with as we grow the country forward, because we've got a very serious mandate in terms of adding value to the community. The 50 million Kenyans do need power, but we are progressing towards that. I actually sit in the Finance Committee, and I also sit in the Human Resource Committee. Thank you very much, and have a nice evening.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. Once more, good evening. Guest of honor for today, Bwana PS. The title is so long that if I mention it can take 1 hour. And our chairman, who has a commanding height, that is why things have moved. Members of the board, management, and everybody else who is here today. My name is Beatrice Kemei, member of the board, chair, HR committee of the board, member of the audit committee. Chair, I'm very excited that I'm part of this process. I've been part of it. It is only that my name was not seen anywhere here, and I was in strategic plan during the inception. So please remember to add those people who were there in the inception.
Thank you.
Number 2, during we have the policies. At least for the HR policy, I can say I was part of it. But now that we were not in the HADOC, where engineer was heading, we want to appreciate the team who did all this. And Francis and the team, the CPS and all that, we appreciate the work done. I would only request through the chair that you bring chairman and his team to be ahead of the management. And then don't forget we have honorables. We have Honorable Bett and Honorable Oner. So please correct those mistakes so that before it is signed by the chairman.
Thank you, thank you.
And finally, we appreciate this colorful ceremony. It is not only for the sake of having the document. Implementation is key. Monitoring and evaluation should be done. I want to appreciate that even as we exit, which we have not done, we are yet to. We believe that things will work well for all of us. My request to the members of the staff management, knowledge is power. Learn and see what is in the document so that it becomes part of you and you will have what to tell those people there. And as I give the chairman the mic, I want to bring greetings from my village. And then 2 weeks ago, through the permission of the chairman, I went to launch some few projects.
with the MP of the area, and I like what the villagers was saying. Tunashukuru hii serikali kwa kutuma hii Beatrice akuja aloji sitima. Sasa tumefurahi, saa hii tunaona taa, watoto wetu wanasoma. So receive their greetings. And that is exactly what happened.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Engineer Benson Kariki. I serve the board in two committees, Speak Committee and Finance Committee. I was part of the team that was doing some of the things that are here, because one thing I appreciate is something called organized knowledge. You've heard maybe in some other countries where they talk of a country which has got a knowledge-driven economy. Until an organization has got organized knowledge, that organization will not go anywhere. And so the strategic plan and the internal policies, they present organized knowledge. And if you use them, you can take this to the bank. REREC will be the organization to actually reckon with. Thank you very much.
Thank you, directors, for your short introduction. And I want to bring apologies from 4 other directors who are supposed to be with us this late afternoon. That is Mr. Mugambi, the representative of Cabinet Secretary for Treasury. He was with us in the morning, but he was called for another urgent meeting in Nairobi. Honorable Onel, Alex Sesosi, and Mr. Evans Mutari, who represents, who is the alternate to the PS, but since the PS is with us today, of course we are not missing Evans so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I will go straight to my few remarks. And sometimes when you talk, when others have talked, you realize that sometimes others who talked before you have said 1 or 2 things that possibly you thought that you are the one who is going to say first. However, having said that, I want to say that this strategic plan is special in many ways. One, it is during this period that we purpose to meet the milestone achievement of electrification of all public facilities in this country. You may remember that in 2018, the government launched the Kenya National Electrification Strategy, which is a roadmap for achieving universal access to electricity by the year 2022. As a corporation, we are here today to show commitment and purpose to achieving the same. Of course, I saw our CEO articulated very clearly what we ought to do during this period, and we are here as a board to say that indeed we will work with you to ensure that the public facilities that are remaining, which are approximately 29%, will be electrified, and will give you that particular support, including the remaining public primary schools, secondary schools and institutions of higher learning, health facilities, training centers, and among other public facilities. Ladies and gentlemen, the Energy Act 2019 mandated the corporation to spearhead Kenya's renewable energy drive in addition to implementing rural electrification projects, particularly grid extension in rural areas. Upon the President's assent to the new Energy Act in March 2019, the authority was changed to a corporation with a change of name from REREC to REREC and expanded mandates from 6 to 20. This necessitated, among other things, new HR instruments to reflect the new organization. Working with SCAC, REREC obtained approvals of the new instruments on 14 August 2019. The authorized staff establishment was increased from 481 members of staff to 1,118. The directorates were increased from 3 to 7 to be headed by general managers, and this is the time that these directorates will be headed by general managers. As a corporation, through our new and expanded mandate in renewable energy, and also through the implementation of this strategic plan, we are today making a resolve to heighten research, development, and dissemination of appropriate renewable energy technologies. REREC will also set up the National Renewable Energy Research Center, equip and scale up the energy centers in the country. To further support the renewable energy development, the corporation intends to install and meter 200 solar PVs and 20 wind systems for institutions in various parts of the country. Ladies and gentlemen, during my tenure as the chairman of the board of directors, which is ending in February 2022, that means that I have served in this corporation for the last 7 years. And indeed, I want to say that I'm very proud to have served in this corporation. Those things when appears, the ones you have heard, our community saying they are very happy. Indeed, they are the ones that drive me to continue serving in this corporation. Like, for example, I was away for 2 weeks outside the country, and when I returned, my wife did not take it very kindly when I told her that I am leaving for Mombasa to attend to REREC matters. In fact, he was telling me, he was asking me, has REREC become your second home? And of course, I affirmed the same, and I said, because I believe in whatever REREC is doing, indeed it's my second home because of the impact that we have continued doing for this country. We have seen as a board that the number of staff increasing from a mere 108 to 481, and currently the corporation has finalized, and it is still continuing on the issue of recruiting 234 additional staff. Of course, there are quite a number of things that we can be able to say that I have seen personally. REREC gaining, being upgraded from category PC 7A to PC 7A1, and of course, the remuneration structure was harmonized with the category, with the new category of 7A1. We have continued doing a lot, and the CEO said it, especially in the areas to do with ICT. We have done very well. We have also implemented e-board for board members, and I remember when the PS visited us as a board, one of the things he noted is why we are not using our ICT facilities, and of course we are in the process of launching the e-board for board members because now it's complete. Of course, we have done so much, and as the CEO mentioned about the issue of the 54 megawatts solar generation, and of course the list is long. If we continue saying what we have been able to do, we would look as if we are campaigning for reappointment again. And some of us, Josephine said that she has served the maximum, including myself, and therefore, indeed, let me say, we have seen this institution grow from when I joined it with 91 members of staff who are permanent and pensionable, and about 184 who are contract staff, and we have been able to do what we have been able to do in that. Buena PS, I know you will clap. I want you to keep it so that you make it big when I finish. Buena PS, indeed it is true that the new strategic plan, the strategic plan we are doing requires the corporation to enhance its capacity, and this is partly what you met us doing by wanting to recruit 234 new members of staff. And in these 234 new members of staff, during whatever exercise you are doing, we noted that 22 temporary staff, or 22 who are working on contracts, had been incorporated or recruited to be part of those 234, and we were also in the process of bringing on board the 166 Ministry of Energy staff that were supposed to increase the corporation staff levels from the current 22.8 to 54.2% based on revised corporate establishment of 1274. I know when we are trying to do this, this is part of organizational change, and it is not always very easy because it requires us to do new things. When we created the positions of general managers, of course, and other managers, this somehow brought in some uneasiness, and really what I would want to urge our members of staff is to be patient and also look at REREC in going into the future, because what we are looking at is leaving legacy to this organization. Let us not become jittery, saying that if I don't become this, then the whole exercise should not be able to continue. Let us work and look forward and become optimistic that if you don't get the position you are looking at this time, then there is a chance in the future that you will be able to get the same. During that process, when appears, we also did harmonization that affected 128 members of staff, comprising 82 who are in administration and 46 staff, technical staff, while 22 members of staff currently on contract, comprising of 18 administration and 4 technical, shall be placed on permanent and pensionable term, which shall result to an annual cost of Kenya shillings 19 million. The corporation, this is something good, because when we are talking about harmonization, we are talking about addressing partly what many staff have been saying, that have been placed on this level. I don't belong to this level. So 128 members of staff will be informed by our CEO what will happen, and I'm very sure the PS and the CEO will guide on the implementation on this, in line with the compliance with the HR instruments that brought REREC from there. Ladies and gentlemen, today as a board, we are very happy because we received in the morning results of evaluation by SCAC on our 2020-2021 financial year performance as a board, and I would say that we scored 97% as a board. I think the board requires a clap at that particular juncture. And I also want to congratulate our CEO, who has continued on improving on his performance from 2018-2019, when he performed at 84%, and today he performed at 92%, which is very good. The above results demonstrate a tremendous improvement over the years for the board and the chief executive officer, which shows that there is a good working relationship with the board and management. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I want to acknowledge the board of directors for their dedication and input throughout the development stages of both the strategic plan and internal policies. You have heard our director, Beatley's, requesting that before I sign the strategic plan, her name requires to be there to be acknowledged, but I have acknowledged it publicly, which is even better than being put down. So just take it to be so. I also want to appreciate the CEO, CPA Peter Bogwa, who besides his able leadership through the process ensured that the adequate resources, both human and capital, were availed for this. Asante sana. I also want to appreciate the REREC management team and all the staff for a job well done in ensuring the timely completion of these policies and strategic plan, which are crucial for the achievement of our corporate mandate. I will not also forget to thank our parent ministry for for support, the budget, both budgetary and guidance during the implementation of our activities. I want to request the PS to personally take the regards to our CS for that particular support that we have continued to get from the ministry. At this juncture, it is now my humble duty to welcome the Principal Secretary, Major General Retired Dr. Gordon Kiharangwa, CBS, to give his address and to officially launch the REREC Strategic Plan at 2018, 2019, 2022, 2023, and thank him for having taken his time out of his office, traveling all the way from Nairobi to come and join us here to be part of this. This is further demonstration that indeed the ministry is supporting all what REREC is doing. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. The chairman of the REREC board, Professor Micharu, the board members present here today, the CEO of REREC, CPA Mbogwa, the management of REREC, representative of the sagas from the energy sector, officers of REREC, invited guests, our entertainers this evening, Kayamba Africa. I'm humbled to be here today to witness and also launch the strategic plan for REREC and the policies therein. Let me start by saying that a strategic plan is a document, so are the policies. This is not the first of its own kind because policies are rolled over globally. It is people who make strategic plans to exactly become a reality. Why am I saying that? Initially, strategy wasn't a civilian word. It was one Prussian general by the name Clausewitz in around 1771, who asked two questions. What is war? And he went on further to say, what is the purpose of war and what does it serve? It's only around the beginning of the 20th century that other writers like Kotler, Ingle, Alfred coined it now in the civilian context to embrace transformation, business, and organization. This document could have been not launched in a better time than the time when the energy sector is undergoing certain reforms. Because as you are all aware, There is a task force report under the chairmanship of John Ngumi that came up with a plethora of a number of recommendations. Because there was a contradiction that as much as we have done so well in terms of energy, connectivity, name it, our electricity costs have been going up. So if an item is going to be very expensive, then it is not going to contribute to the benefit of the ordinary mwananchi. So I believe this is the right time that this document is being launched. It will definitely go a long way. We've been talked of the 3 documents, the strategic plans that have been done, and the 3rd one is embracing 2 items, rural electrification and the renewable energy. You are all aware that by 2030, we should be over 90% uses of energy. REREC is 100% a government entity. KPLC has a private entity in it. So REREC is actually filling that gap. And you're told we stand at 70%. And I'm sure with the added mandate as by Energy Act, we're going to have this extended further so that we really benefit, especially the development of the renewable energy. We're very lucky as a country. When you really look at the energy mixture in this country, besides the thermal, we have the hydros, we have the solar, and we have the wind. All this mixture, if nicely done, nicely developed, they can actually add value to our country. Without energy, there is no development. By advancing rural electrification into some of our marginalized areas, you are making those people feel part and parcel of this country. That a student going to school in Nairobi and a student going to school in Banisa, if there is power there, those children can actually compete very well. My advice to REREC Fraternity is we want to understand what we want to achieve with this strategic plan. It is the people who are going to internalize the content of the strategic plan. Because what is there is brains have been put into this document. See people like CPA Mutua, CPA Njoroge, a doctor, who have been working on this document. You can see brains have been utilized. But then how are you going to cascade this document so that there is ownership? Every other year, we're actually now going to come up with performance contract. How are we going to find ourselves ensuring that this is not just going to be a paper that will just going to be counted as years go back? So I want the leadership of REREC, the board level, the management level, once this is launched, the document is cascaded so that those at different levels are able to ensure that there is ownership. The new mandate that has been added onto REREC is something that is globally accepted, waited for, because renewable energy has got a direct contribution to the climate change. So we're going to see donors come. If then REREC is going to be organized very well, we are likely to get more funding so that we are able, as you all know, that much of the work that is being done in REREC, of course, funds are directly imported or rather given to by the government. I think then when the mandate also increases, what therefore happens is there will be need for finance. The HR instrument has got to be improved. And I know there is a temporal freeze on the exercise that was going on. And this is because of what had been captured in the task force report, which we feel probably in a couple of months, guidance will be given. So this is a temporal issue, and I don't want to feel there's someone who is aggrieved thinking that probably he's being denied a change. I want to emphasize that the contribution of each one of us is what will determine the success of what REREC is going. Already down on record, there are quite successes that have been recorded. And indeed, if there is any saga that is so close to the citizen of this country, it is actually RULO, which has done its job. And I believe as it takes up to finish the remaining part of the strategic plan, we will really expect. The Cabinet Secretary, Ambassador Monica Juma, was supposed to be with us here today, but it also coincided with the graduation or the commissioning of the cadets at the academy in Lanette. So that made her miss the launch that we are doing today, but she had been briefed by the CEO and the chair, so they are all aware that she was not going to be here today. Let me take this opportunity to thank all of you. First, the leadership at the board level, the leadership at the management level, that you have been able to travel this journey that has left a lot of traces of success. That I salute all of you. Second, it is to acknowledge the successes that have been done in terms of rural electrification. It is evident. What we just want to do is that now, what is the quality of our work? One of the things that emerged in the task force report is proper alignment of the mandates. You must be able to speak to each other. And when you do that, you will be able to execute your tasks in the most seamless manner. The third thing that I will ask all of you is always to work teamwork. Those in management, show proper guidance. When you are a leader at the top, you should be the servant number one. Proper leadership is servantship. We must be able to listen. We must be able to guide. We must be able to take action where necessary. That is very, very important. And of course, fourthly is, what is your contribution? What has been spoken of you in the task force report? REREC is handing over the operations of the Garissa Solar. Is being taken over by KenGen. It is true, KenGen has more expertise in running such. So that is what we are saying, alignment of certain operations. And there are also certain tasks that now KPLC is going to align itself with rural electrification. So I think if that is understood, and then there is going to be synergy, the policies which are there, 45, that is not a simple number. Those are a lot. If they are properly followed, then I don't see any challenge that is going to be derived in the implementation of the strategic plan. Those who spent a lot of their time working on those documents, those who guided board members who were in a number of committees. And that's why sometimes it is always said, when you constitute a board, it must have characters who will add value to an organization. So sometimes people just want your board to be a member, but if you cannot add value to your board, I know the brains that are in REREC board, so definitely you must have contributed a lot. That is very, very important. The understanding between the board and the management is also very key, because then you end up operating in a very seamless manner. I think I want to salute all of you who took time out of your busy schedule to be with the Fraternity of REREC here today. We don't take it for granted. We appreciate you. But the honors remains with the people who are going to ensure that this strategic plan. Madam Murutu was saying that she's finishing her term. What a better way of finishing a term, and you're finishing high. You would imagine if you are just going to finish your term and there is nothing to be associated with. Sometimes we ask ourselves, you went, you saw, and you conquered. But there are some people who simply go and they see nothing. And that's why there are people who never leave anything to do with legacy. Mtu alikuwako huko tu na kaenda. You have done your bit. Prof, you've done your bit. We really want to wish you well. Those ones who will remain as a board member, you can always do your second term. So I really don't see where you're saying that if you've done your first term, you cannot be considered. I think those are consideration, because the provision is very clear. If you have done your first term and you've done well, I think the appointing authority should think about reconsidering of according you a second chance. So we really want to wish you well. I want once again to thank all of you. Kayamba Africa, I know you've been the director for the last 25 years. We have interacted in very many ways. I want to thank you most sincerely. You continue to do a commendable job. So without much ado, let me end my speech by saying, this is a great country. It is your contribution, my contribution, that can only make this country a better place. Don't wait for someone else to come and make this better country. Don't also just be a spectator. Show your contribution, so that when men and women are counted, you are one of those that will be mentioned that you contributed. With those few remarks, thank you very much, and God bless you.
Very well. Makofi tena tafadhali. Thank you very much, our chief guest. We would like to make a small transition in terms of removal of the podium. This is because there's a little act that may be dangerous for you. Don't try it at home.
but for those who are doing it, that is their way of upkeep. So, can we have the music, please, before we do the initial and grand launch?
the last act. Remember, please do not try this. Do not try this at all. Unless there's a qualified medical doctor within. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me now to invite our chief guest to move to this podium here, accompanied by the chair and the CEO. And we are also privileged to have two of our board directors, Madam Josephine Muritu. 4, 3, 2, 1, and down! please, we now want to have the official handing over. Oh, first of all, we start with the strategic launch. We will ask that we do this a bit deliberately because of the camera. Can we just follow a bit of the positioning of the camera? Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now asking the peers to officially hand over to the chairman of the REREC board, who will thereafter hand over to the CEO. There we go. Makofi tafadhali. Asante sana. And again, now we want the internal policy copy to be given to our chief guest to hand over to the chairperson, the chairman, who will then now give the mantle. It is quite a humongous document, ladies and gentlemen. Makofi hapo. Asante sana. And of course, once that presentation has been done, we will request the chairman of the board to hand it over to the CEO. It is quite a document, quite a document. Bwana CEO, congratulations, Makofi. Makofi kabisa. Thank you very much. We now want very quickly to make the following request. May I ask the CEO, the CEO and the PS and chairman to just take us photo, a group photo there. There we go. Camera, when you're done, please. Ah, there we are. There we are. Yes, we have to symbolically hold the books at a particular angle. In a geophysical way. Yes. Geospatial. Then, of course, this is a deliberate one. I may ask the CEO and chairman to be the ones to take. We ask the PS to kindly just don't go away, just be a little out of the frame. Here we go. Once we are done with that, may I humbly request the directors to also join us, please. Yes, directors. Now, with the directors, we want to request very humbly that the PS now joins the directors also. Can we create room for the PS? Right there. Just a very small. Then very quickly, all of us, the way we are standing, can we all hold a book? All of us hold a book. Meanwhile, very quickly, may I humbly request Engineer Benson to prepare for a vote of thanks. I have been told that the vote of thanks should be very brief. Director Engineer Benson Kariuki, I understand our PS has a flight at 8 and I have a bus at 10. Everybody with his lane. Unakubali ile yako. Na unaendelea kuishi tu. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, may I humbly request that our guests be seated as we ask the board director, Mr. Engineer Benson Kimeli. He has graciously accepted, we give Kimeli. Wameweka unanimously by a vote anonymously all the way from Turkana. Mheshimiwa ndiye aseme vote of thanks. Makofi.
Okay, I'll be brief because we have a lot has been said, and when you are given a chance to say vote of thanks, you need just to say thanks, then we call it a day. We thank God for giving all of us this time to be here, and this is a great day for us, the family of REREC, and our guests who have just joined us this evening. And mine is just to tell you that if there is a county which they have benefited from REREC, it is the county I come from, that is the great county of Turkana. And when we have our CEO saying Turkana has been connected to Kenya, it was not a joke. Because when Turkana, we say we are in Turkana. When we plan to come to this side of the country, we say we are now going to Kenya. But nowadays, we are saying we are in Kenya just because of REREC, which they have covered every part of Turkana with electricity. And we thank God for that. So I take this time to thank our parents for taking his time to be here with us. Thank you, volunteers, and when we go back, please take our greetings to the CS, Madam Monica. We take this time also to thank our chairman, our able chairman, who has been with us through this journey, and he has made it a great job for all of us, for going through if there's somebody who has enjoyed being in this place or in the family of REREC, is me. Because for the 3 years I've been here, it's really, we politicians, we normally look, we are busy people, but I've been a busy guy all through since I joined REREC, because there is no time I don't sit or stand without doing anything to do, focus on this route of making electricity to be everywhere in this country. So, Chair, we thank you very much, and when you go home, please take our things from this area home to your home. There are other greetings also, or the point of that, I thank also all of my colleagues, those who are here and those who are not here, who have sent their apology to be in this meeting. When you go back home, please tell our family members and everybody at home, even those who are missed there at the Kericho or Bomet, those who have enjoyed electricity, just tell them now we have the strategy which will take us focus, and we do what is left for us to do in the remaining 5 years. The other greeting is thanks also goes to our mother ministries, that the Ministry of Energy, Ministry of Treasury, and also our donors, our developmental donors who have made us to go this far. We thank them for this, for making us be here today, and for what they have done to us here in REREC. We don't forget the counties, the 27 counties, which they have really seen that with REREC they can do more. And we wish, because all of us at least come from one county or another. Please, let's join REREC when it comes to electricity, so that our counties will be seeing light everywhere. Lastly, but not least, I thank our staff who have taken us this far. We really thank you for the good work you have done to make this day to be as successful the way it has been done today. Daktari and your team, our Francis, the two brothers, Francis, we thank you very much for the good job done, and we continue praying to you so that you continue doing the good work to REREC. And all of our staff who are here today, we thank all of you. We also thank our team here with our able MC for the good job done. Thank you, and when you go home, please take our greetings. Lastly, to the hotel people, you have really welcomed us here, and we have really enjoyed, and we can't forget praying for you and the rest of the people in the positive or the good. Welcome to this place. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. And when you go home, please don't forget, because the person standing before you is the incoming member of parliament for Turkana East. So praise God.
Asante sana. May I humbly ask, we do a very small ceremony. May I ask quickly Madam Josephine to come, and Dr. Kalama. Please, our chief guest, just stand here for a minute. We want to make a very small presentation. This is a thank you gift for your finding time to be with us. We have also noticed, and we will remember that we will send you also with a message to Madam Sears. So, Josephine, you will present that. This is yours, sir. Unajua wazee wanapewa box basket here. Thank you very much. And then the next one goes to, you will take this on behalf of the CS, and we appreciate it. Asante sana. God bless you. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the formal part of this program. I have a very short announcement. We are about to serve. We understand that some of you may be leaving for other travel arrangements, but we want to serve, and in the short while that they are ready, I will ask that we respectfully wait until our table has been ushered. This is because we have to keep observing the COVID-19 rules. We also need to know that you can only be served when you are wearing your mask. So you can only go to serve when you have your mask on. Nafikiri hiyo tumeelewana. Ladies and gentlemen, may we just have some background music as we do that. Maybe Kayamba to do a few songs, but we will soon start serving in a manner that we will be calling table by table. Asanteni sana, God bless you. Because of the success of this function today, we are repeating it next week on Saturday. Come with the same clothes you're wearing. Good night and God bless you. Tunaomba tuombewe ya chakula na wale ambao Mungu akiwabariki.
Every day, we wake up to fulfill a sacred obligation of connecting thousands of Kenyans in rural areas to electricity, overcoming all hurdles that come our way, with an aim of empowering every Kenyan economically, opening up their world and giving hope to the future generations. The story of rural electrification in Kenya has come a long way. In 1973, the government of Kenya established Rural Electrification Program for purposes of subsidizing electricity supply in the rural areas. However, by 2002, it was realized that despite the program having been in place for more than 30 years, only about 4% of the rural population in Kenya had electricity supply in their homes. The government thus established Rural Electrification Authority in 2006 to scale up access to electricity in the rural areas.
The idea behind this was the government wanted to make sure that those areas which will not have rectified, if you could do it commercially, gets to be rectified, and then this would spur the economic activities in the area and empower people economically.
It is under Rural Electrification Authority that the country started to experience exponential growth in rural electrification. By May 2019, 71% of all public facilities in the country were electrified. Implementation of Rural Electrification Authority First Strategic Plan 2008-2009 to 2012-2013 factored the government's first medium-term development strategy of realizing Vision 2030. The goal during this period was to connect the three main public facilities, namely secondary schools, trading centers, and health centers, to achieve connectivity target of 22% in the rural areas by June 2013.
Energy is the key driver of government development agenda, such as Vision 2030 and the Big Four. Energy is the enabler of Kenya's manufacturing sector, facilitating the attainment of food security, universal health coverage, and affordable housing.
The Rural Electrification Master Plan was also developed during this period. In June 2013, Rural Electrification Authority undertook to provide electricity to all public primary schools in support of the government's digital literacy program. Through this project, a total of 22,384 public primary schools throughout the country have been connected to the grid or solar PV for those far away from the national grid. Rural Electrification Authority Second Strategic Plan 2013 to 2017 enhanced the focus on development of renewable energy sources in the country, in which the authority was expected to take a leading role. Some of the key achievements of the two previous strategic plans include the construction of 26 solar mini-grid projects to power towns in the off-grid counties of Wajir, Turkana, Marsabit, Mandera and Garissa. All of these mini-grids have been commissioned and customers connected to power. Another flagship project is the 50-megawatt Garissa solar power plant, which remains the largest solar power plant in East and Central Africa. this project currently contributing 2% of energy mix in Kenya. Under the Electrification of Public Primary Schools project, a total of 22,927 primary schools have been electrified across the country, positively contributing to the universal access target and improvement of education standards. Other achievements include the Takwel-Lokichar line implemented to extend grid supply to off-grid areas in northern Kenya. The lighting up informal settlements such as Kibra, Mathare, Korogosho, Ngomongo, Mukuru kwa Njenga, and Kiandutu in Thika. In the previous strategic plan, the corporation also hybridized 4 diesel power stations with solar in Takaba, Eldas, Ramu, and Laisamis. In the same spirit, the corporation also completed 6 wind, biogas, solar, and mini hydros pilot projects in Marsabit, Kajiado, Kiambu, Meru, and Kirinyaga. Further, a total of 64 secondary schools and health facilities were installed with solar systems in Marsabit, Samburu, Isiolo, Wajir, Mandera, Garissa, and Lamu counties.
In one of the secondary schools, specifically, the headmaster was told us this was very transformational because now he's able to produce exams, typeset, print exam in the school. Previously, he used to travel over 30 kilometers for the same services. So one, it was very expensive. Number two, he was not able to administer the same number of exams he wanted. So now he is able to offer exams as soon as frequently as they want.
We are very thankful and grateful for the electricity and the positive effects that it has brought us.
Nataka kutoa machozi kusema nashukuru serikali kwa kutuletea stima.
20 isolated diesel generators were initiated in various towns in the northern and coastal parts of the country.
With the funding of the government over the years, we are talking over slightly over 70% access in terms of electrification.
In the recent past, we have had Malawi coming to learn from REREC on rural electrification. Even in Zambia, we had a team from Uganda, meaning that we are already ahead in terms of rural electrification.
Even with all these achievements, so much more lies ahead of us. In 2019, under Section 43 of the Energy Act, Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation (REREC) was born. Under the new dispensation, the corporation has an expanded mandate of spearheading Kenya's renewable energy drive in addition to implementing rural electrification projects, particularly grid extension in rural areas. We have been listening to you, working with leaders at the national and county level and taking note of your concerns and compliments to serve you better.
Ile budget ambayo ninakalia sahi, I will make sure that we enhance your money for the connectivity.
And now, we are taking a bold step and setting our eyes on an even higher goal by launching a new strategic plan which covers the years 2018-2019 to 2022-2023 with the vision of a green energy-driven nation.
The Renewable Energy Corporation was given that extra workload, which probably a lot of focus on renewable energy. You see that in Kenya, the renewable energy technologies are merely optimized. So basically that gives us a lot of focus and a lot of work to do on the renewable energy. And basically this is the lifeline of this new strategic plan.
The deliverables that we have set include electrifying 25,899 public facilities, 278 public primary schools, 1,339 secondary schools, 1,428 health facilities, and 5,705 trading centers. This new strategic plan, which is the first one for REREC under the new Energy Act 2019, will have a keen focus on renewable energy, including biogas, solar energy, and wind energy. We pride ourselves in implementing one of the largest solar plants in Africa and intend to install 50,000 homes with solar systems. The plan for REREC to take over the running of 16 energy centers in the country will further bolster the corporation's resolve to making Kenya a green energy-driven nation.
The main objective of energy centers is to upskill the uptake of renewable energy in the country.
We are extremely excited about the energy center because people will have solutions to energy problems so that they don't have to beat about the bush or be exploited by people who are promising energy solutions which are non-existent.
In terms of the revenue generation, we are looking at a way whereby we can get to market some of the product and services within the energy centers to the ROCOs and earn some revenues.
The realization of this plan will be through implementation of 6 key strategic objectives, including developing and promotion of the use of renewable energy, increasing electricity connectivity, promoting research and development in renewable energy, establishing strategic collaborations with stakeholders, building human capacity and strengthening institutional capacity, achieving financial sustainability.
We have a fully fledged now department just doing research on renewable energy because we want to have cutting edge technologies in renewable energy which will help us to get new innovations, new sustainable ways of harnessing renewable energy, areas of collaboration in research with other related agencies.
We'll be having the short and medium term reviews to ensure that we do deliver our strategic plan.
We are collaborating with counties through a project we call the Match Fund program. Hereby we work with the counties to ensure that we share costs of projects on a 50-50 basis, a shilling for shilling. And there are some counties which are specifically doing renewable energy only. Renewable energy projects, solar, IMAS, for example, Kiambu County, they have really supported us in this area of renewable energy. We have we even had Vihiga. Vihiga went on very well as a renewable energy. We had Meru County and Nyeri County, whereby we did solar-powered boreholes.
And to ensure smooth working relations, the corporation has developed 45 policy documents which will guide the REREC Fraternity as we implement our mandate.
This will create a lot of linkages and a lot of flow in terms of information flow from one department to the other. They are able now to find it easy to function or to do the activities.
We want to thank our board chairman for leading us and leading our board, and for the support we get also from the board of directors.
We endeavor to remain one happy family working in synergy to ensure that the goal of becoming a green energy-driven nation is achieved.